Hi, everyone. I'm Luke from HelixML, and I'm really happy to be here today with Romain from Rescale. So hi, Romain.
Hi.
It's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Cool. I'd love to, if you could please introduce yourself for everyone and tell us a bit about Rescale.
Sure. So my name is Romain Klein. I'm a French engineer, and I've been leading the technical teams at Rescale in Europe for the past 6 years. I also have a decade of experience working with high performance computing, or HPC, in the cloud across various businesses. Right. So today I look after our solutions team, solutions architecture, and customer success team, post sales. And we basically help the digital transformation journey for large enterprise across various industries, automotive, aerospace, microchip development, EDA, life science, manufacturing.
Awesome.
Any word about Rescale? So Rescale as a company was created in 2011. It's been there for a while. The key mission of Rescale is to empower engineers and scientists to perform groundbreaking simulations at exascale on leveraging HPC in the cloud. Right. So high performance computing is not a simple task, and doing it in the cloud requires some very niche skill set that Rescale can help enterprise achieve.
Awesome. And could you say a few words about kind of how big is Rescale, like how many employees, and kind of a little bit about kind of the kind of customers you have?
Absolutely. So Rescale is about 300 employees globally. Our main operation are in the US, in Europe, Japan, and Korea. Yet we serve customers globally, right? So this is across the various industries that I mentioned. So automotive, aerospace. We are a leader in cloud HPC. And we provide the way to make it secure, scalable across multi-cloud, and everything on a single platform.
Awesome. That's really cool. Thank you. So it sounds like Rescale does a lot of kind of scientific computing work. What kicked off your interest in generative AI, and what kind of capabilities do you think that Gen AI in general will bring to your customers?
Alors, my interest is not new. So even before Rescale, so 6-7 years ago, we were already trying to work with the convergence of traditional HPC and machine learning. Right. Today, we have, at least for the past 2 to 3 years, peak interest in our customers and prospects into how can we use HPC infrastructure together with Gen AI to optimize and achieve faster turnaround times. Ultimately, it's gonna result in products or to be faster on the market. And faster product design.
Awesome. And so what kind of use cases in particular do you see coming out of generative AI?
So there is 2 main tracks of use cases. I'm going to talk about internal use case within Rescale. I think a lot of functions are currently either brainstorming or testing, and soon to be in production for their internal kind of space. That could be supporting function, HR, commercial, and so on. We've seen a net increase in the utilization of Gen AI across the business, answer faster business commercials, quickly assess the state of the business, and so on. So a lot of internal interest, yet I'm mostly responsible for technical sales, and this is where our customers are asking for kind of tools to enhance their current high-performance computing experience, being how to quickly analyze years and years of data sets, how to look into training new employees, coaching, having some kind of advisor within the company. So those are the use case that I see as common thread across different industries.
Very cool. Nice. Yeah, no, so that makes sense. What do you think the impact of generative AI is going to be on the industries that you work with?
That's a great question. So our customers' industries, the impact will be essentially deliver groundbreaking innovations faster, right? So come up with the best guess solution with GenAI very fast, and then validated using legacy traditional high-performance computing technology. Right, so that's a key angle that is already live today in production for automotive or aerospace customer. Within most of the business in the cloud computing or in IT, I think GenAI is a tool to do more with, do more efficiently. Yes. Also, maybe lastly, the same as other technologies in the past, I believe GenAI will be a way to take away maybe boring daily task consuming chronophage tasks and allow engineer scientists to really focus where they can bring the most expertise, the most insights. Yes, that's what I hope will be the future for GenAI in science.
Awesome. That's really cool. So as you were looking at open source models, open weights models, and you mentioned you have an interest, you've had an interest in this for a while. What did you see as the challenges of implementing those open source models yourself if you didn't have a platform like Helix?
That's a great question. Some colleagues in my team did a lot of do-it-yourself approach. So they could script their way, they could train their models, etc. Everything locally or on a cloud infrastructure within Rescale. The true difference between like do-it-yourself versus Helix is the scalability. Right? If we were to scale your platform, your tool, either internally or for some customers, for hundreds, if not thousands of engineers and scientists, we cannot rely on a kind of scripted approach. Or, we need a true platform control plane approach. This is the same as we are proposing for our high performance computing customers. The platform approach allows you to scale to different business units, R&D groups, and across companies and across industries.
Got it. So it sounds like the alternative from an open source Gen AI perspective would be lots of scripts, lots of people doing things in different ways. I guess people may be running like one-off VLLM servers, but the value in having a consistent approach and the kind of architecture where you can attach multiple runners, I suppose makes it, like you say, much more structured and much more scalable.
Yes, scalability, meaning you have some economies of scale in terms of GPU compute, infrastructure, and so on. Now, they can still do it locally. if they do it locally, they don't share it, or it's harder to share across teams or colleagues across the globe, right? Finally, version control. You have some place where you have all those tests, POCs, production workflows implemented. And security. Again, it's like this tool should be controlled by your IT, should be vouched for in terms of cybersecurity, because we see too often people putting a very sensitive information on a other platform, and you have no control about where this data is landing and what models will be trained using your sensitive data.
Yep. Fascinating. No, I definitely agree with those points. And I think I'm really glad you touched on version control, actually, because this is something that I feel really passionate about. And this kind of paradigm that we're trying to bring with um, the version controlled applications on top of Helix. We have this piece called the AI spec. And the idea is that you can define these YAML files that define exactly which model you use, which prompts you use. If you're doing an API integration, you can even customize the prompts that interact with the API. And so you can then iterate on that and make that system really good. But if you don't version control all the changes to those configurations, then it's like what are you doing? You need to apply software and DevOps best practices to LLM ops. And of course, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of generative AI tooling out there, and a lot of providers that offer like APIs and so on. Could you talk a bit about maybe any challenges that you or your customers might have in terms of utilizing those external APIs and maybe kind of feed into your interest in being able to run generative AI locally on your own infrastructure?
Yeah, absolutely. So my journey towards Helix started with the curiosity, the envy of running a kind of open weight large language model such as Mistral. So this is where vectored me into your website, and then I've been hooked on the fact that you can deploy Helix on your private infrastructure. Mm-hmm. This is key today for every enterprise companies, and especially in the cloud. Right? Today, the reality is for compute or for GenAI, access to GPU or GPU capacity is challenging. And this is where the cloud is most of the time the only route to get access to scalable GPU capacity. Mm-hmm. Now, making it into the cloud, especially for European enterprise companies, is always a challenge security-wise. We at Rescale provide for the past 10 years, right, that we've been dealing with enterprise. We provide best-in-class secure environments for running compute, double layer encryption, data at rest, data in transit, data in use. So to make sure that your IP is always secure, right? Mm-hmm. We need to provide all those guarantees to our customers. Today, the fact that I could deploy the entirety of Helix, the control plane, but also the end user interface on Rescale private infrastructure makes it that it can be automatically proposed to our customer base, for instance, because everything would be within the envelope of our current security.
That's fascinating. So it sounds like Rescale provides this kind of security and encryption layer on top of the public cloud that makes it more palatable almost for your customers, and that's an essential part of how they protect their IP their data security and privacy. And so being able to layer a generative AI stack directly on top of that same secured infrastructure is a benefit above and beyond using other services that are out there. Is that right?
No, absolutely. So that's one of the main advantage I've seen in my journey to Helix. It's the private deployment.
Okay, awesome.
The second advantage, which came later, is essentially to run Gen AI, you need data, right? And if you have a common data lake across your engineering R&D kind of processes and your Gen AI business units, then you don't have to move data between clouds. You don't have to move data between platforms or between software. You have one single platform for embedding Gen AI and high performance computing.
Got it. Yeah, that's super exciting. So yeah, you talked a bit about your journey with Helix. Could you talk about like how you discovered us, a bit about your experience, kind of interacting with us in those early days, and let's just start with that.
Sounds good. Now, alors, I discovered you on a late evening, so I was playing around for the most part. But I was blown away by the fact that I was able to deploy the control plane in minutes, right? Within an hour, I had the entirety of Helix deployed within a Rescale compute infrastructure. So that was very promising because I truly believe that even with everybody talks about Gen AI, everybody tried ChatGPT, OpenAI, and so on. Yet it's fairly complex, right? And the ability of Helix to deploy or to kind of abstract away very complex bricks of infrastructure into a simple kind of deployment recipes made it fairly easy for me to enter into this new space, right? I'm not originally technical in this space. So that was the first one. Second one, when I started to look into customization, what I could build upon this well-built stack, this is where I found the team at Helix to be super responsive. I particularly enjoyed the fact the Discord way of communicating. I think it was very reactive. The team has been able to jump into meetings very quickly as well, live debugs and so on, to the point they even helped me prepare internal presentation to Rescale leadership. So I have only good things to say about this collaboration.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, we've had a lot of fun debugging things together. I really appreciate you showing up on Discord, and I think that is one of our strengths is our team and our ability to help live and ship like updates quickly if there are issues, and to be responsive on Discord. So come and join our Discord, I guess, if you're watching this, and come chat to us. So that's super helpful. Thank you. And you mentioned preparing an internal presentation of Helix. I don't know how much you want to say publicly, but if you have anything to add about kind of the context for that, why there's internal interest, and kind of the benefits that you think that it can bring to Rescale in partnership with us, then that would be great.
Yes. So first, in preparation of this, I wanted to make sure that I cover all the angles, right? Again, internal use cases, but also external ones. A common trend I'm seeing across prospecting engagements or kind of customer post-sales activities at Rescale, we have increased interest into Gen AI. but we are seriously lacking some kind of functional demos, right? So we have hundreds, if not thousands, of demos of how to calculate airflow across a wing, across a car, or to simulate thermals within batteries and so on. What we lack, and which is being solved with Helix, is workable demos where we can pitch it to customers, pitch the key value prop of both having Helix on top of a secure environment. And that changed a bit the dynamic of those meetings, because it's also one thing that I didn't mention. The UI, end user UI, is remarkable in my sense. So it's always personal, right? But I found it very easy to use, very simple. It doesn't require many clicks as well. It's the end user journey is optimized, and yes, usually one single demo of the tool managed to convince some spirit that they should engage into having some form of trial or POC on
Awesome.
GenAI.
That's great. And that's really nice to hear. So you mentioned the UI. Maybe you could take me through, from your perspective, kind of the different main features in Helix that you find interesting. I guess, like from just inference with the UI through like RAG, maybe fine tuning, image models, GPT script. Any of those? You don't have to touch on all of them, but some of the highlights for you in terms of maybe the API integrations, for example, in terms of enabling kind of internal business use cases. Which of those do you find most compelling from your perspective?
Alors, most compelling, obviously, API integrations, I think. Yet, we are yet to test it in production environment, right, for obvious reasons. But integration to tools like Salesforce, Slack, Jira are, I think, key to access data in real time and to create pipelines for training.
Yep.
On the end user interface, I also believe that in order to properly scope a project, again, internally or externally, you need to test it at small scale, right? And the ability of testing it small with a smaller chunk of data set, directly dragging, dropping on the UI, exactly like you say, to do either RAG or fine tuning, mostly on text today, but in the future also on images potentially. Is today super valuable, because you can discuss on a meeting and show live what's going on. It's so fast that you can do RAG almost immediately, right? And fine tuning with the right GPU infrastructure, it's also a question of minutes, right? If with a limited data set. So that is very appealing. Also to compare with other kind of platform, it's benchmarking will play a big part of the future of running GenAI on a private cloud.
Awesome. No, that's super cool. Thank you. So I think with that, are there any other areas you wanted to touch on, or kind of, I guess, summarize?
Well, in summary, I wanted to share in my name, but also from Rescale, that we've been super excited and very grateful for the collaboration. Personally, thank you for inviting me today. And I'm wishing you the best for the launch. I'm sure it's going to be super successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I guess, just one more question. Yeah, would you recommend Helix?
I would absolutely recommend Helix. First, for the technology. but also because of the people within Helix, right? It's been making a true difference. And we've been talking to a lot of companies in this space, and personally, I would choose you for your responsiveness and your willingness to help.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Cool. Thanks so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Luc, and best of luck. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
It's going to be a